Welcome everyone to the second semi-final of Spoils of All July tournament, and today we have a very fun matchup of Exarsist playing against Kolobok Orks. Again, a second Ork in our semi-finals, and as you all know, Orks are considered a very strong faction, but Exarsist is one of the best players in our community, playing his favorite Tau, which are again a very strong faction, especially in the early as well, so we might see a fun early fight. But let's see how it goes and take a look at the map. Looking at Exarsist starting position, we have some dogs and vespids to buy, but not much influence in the early. Good resources, and looks like Kolobok will be taking a restart, sadly for Exarsist. But let's see, he might get a better spawn. In the next generation. Alright, and we are back on Gladius. Let's take a look. Let's start with Orks this time around. He does have an Or outpost for expansion, or maybe even for his first city. It is very popular with Orks to open up with a production city, although that placement is a bit funny because you can't capture those tiles through the cliff. You will have to capture something else first. And if we take a look at Exarsist, will he take a restart for Kolobok's sake? Doesn't look like so. He gets a couple of ruins early, maybe even 3 if he finds it. Yeah, gets city close to make it easier to capture. There is some ore tiles as well. And that is actually a +2 energy. +3, +4. So looks like Exarsist will be restarting. Luckily for Kolobok. But that means we're out of restarts for this game. Kolobok must be happy about that one, because those cliffs were quite unlucky. And that is our final start of the game for today. And let's see. Well, hopefully Exarsist will be happy with his start this time. Still can get a couple of early ruins, which is of course nice. We all know how important getting your ruins early is. And for Kolobok here we do have a production tile, production start. It looks like through the whole tournament every Ork opens up on a production tile. Which of course stacks well with their production bonus for barracks. But we also have seen a lot of Orks struggling with food due to opening with a couple of barracks. early. But let's check it out. I believe, like, metagaming wise, Orks are starting with vehicles in this matchup. Maybe one barrack because you just can't tag the vehicle building early enough. But you definitely want those war buggies against fire warriors and gun drones. Meanwhile, Exarsist of course moves out to capture that ruins of Vaul for research. Again, very important. Most important outpost in the early game. We can see a couple of ruins, almost double his research. It's like, compared to his base, it's plus 50%. 6 plus 2, and then 2 that speeds up your early tech tiers by a lot, meaning most importantly faster expansion. Of course, there is a soft limit on how fast you can get your expansion in the form of required amount of production buildings early. Usually you want at least 2, maybe even 3 production buildings, or a couple of production buildings and the resource building. So there is a soft limit on how fast you can expand, and we can see that Kolobok here does not respect an early research outpost, which most likely means that he is planning on making a bunch of production buildings early, maybe 3. Did tag Cult of Speed, and there are a couple of 40% tiles. For also this might be Daka, Cult of Speed, or building into Mech Yard. And Exarsist buys out that Crude Hound quite early. Again, makes perfect sense, and it is very powerful option. Because you can see he only finished his first barrack, but he already produced, in air quotes, a unit. And now he has something like a couple of production buildings worth, as long as he finds and buys more hounds or vespids. So yeah, that allows Tau to get a very strong early game army. Which is why it is very hard to fight them early. In terms of artifacts, this time we have a very interesting split. But of course, everything looks pretty far away for Ork, since he placed his city in the corner away from his starting position. Quite interesting to see a lot of food outposts for Tau. That is a resource that we can definitely do without. By using food buy, and in fact it might even be reasonable to dip your food into negative and get a gross malus. So I guess in the long run this might not be worth it. And he already captured one of the food outposts, so will be in the positive. Gets the drone captured, loses a model of dogs here. Losing a drone like this is a little bit annoying. Because now that enslaver will run away if we try to fight him. But on the other hand, he got pinned, which is nice. On the other hand, no, actually that is quite annoying. You can see he even decided to attack fire warriors. That is so cursed. And he does a lot of damage. He also ignores armor. So yeah, very annoying of him to focus down fire warriors. Should be able to finish him off. Decides to finish off the Poxwalker first. But yeah, you can see we already have what, 5 units for Tau. Can be 8 in 5 turns, which is extremely powerful. Meanwhile for Orc we only have 4, but of course he can leverage early production, and he indeed tagged Modaka for his pile. Deciding that this is worth it even with a single barrack, or maybe we're going to build more barracks later. That is already an extra 4 energy per turn for Tau, and he actually captured a 3rd ruin, building a book now as well. I assume we're trying to get hammerheads and skyrays as soon as possible. Against Orc, of course, will be fun to see some big suits to counter those mega nobs, but they're definitely hard to use, and as long as you have army advantage, you can do just fine with hammerheads and skyrays. Yeah, this looks like an ore building setup. So, ore building into Megbit's yard, and when we're getting production, I guess, in 2 cities. Because you pretty much just need war buggies. After 3 buildings we are getting builder drone, very fast expansion for double production start. Once again we have some nasty cliffs, complemented by even nastier wire width placement. Yeah, that is some annoying dog movement, and now there is a fair risk of those dogs attacking tower units simply because they are Vika. Vika looks like a Russian name. Sounds. But yeah, that is what can possibly happen, especially with gun drones. They indeed decide to focus them down, should be attacking a Piranha now, and they are disabling sim turns. Nothing extra gets hit because they already used their action. And for Orc, it is indeed Megbit's yard after an Orc building. As we can see, we are learning the build orders here. You can also see a very similar concept for both players, going barrack vehicle, resource building into expansion. Of course for Orks that means getting a Megbit's yard. And by the way, builder drones are tier 3, so you do need that extra research to get them this early. And Tau do have that extra tone crane, but he also captured a couple of ruins very early. This one on turn 1 and this like turn 3 or 4. Could not get more food sadly. So might have to stop buying units to buy food for his fire warriors. Takes a ruin from the Orc. And by the way, you really don't want to engage with drone. Because that means there is at least a unit in range to punish you for it. And then there could be, by turn 2021, like 3 or 4 dogs and vespids. Not to mention like, piranhas and fire warriors. So you really do not want to engage. And you do need those war buggies to clear drones and fire warriors without extra risk. Then let's see if Kolobok respects the drone. And he does, which is again the right call. And that is of course the downside of having early pile of DACA. You produce a lot of boys, but those boys require some decent setup for you to actually use them effectively. By the way, you might also want to get stick bombs before the fight. To one-shot fire warriors out of cover. But yeah, you can see that is a lot of units. 5 fire warriors, 2 piranhas and 2 dogs. So 9 units total. Meanwhile Orc only, in air quotes only, has only 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 units. Yeah, he just got on his ace. Ace boy. And yeah, with the drone factor and the fact that Fire Warriors are 30 cost units, can't afford to fight just yet. Kills a drone from his outpost tile, which is nice. Takes an extra unit to get a boys on the outpost tile, and the tiles you can attack from are very bad out of cover. Which means even if it is a little, but you still take that extra little bit of damage. And you never know when Orks will get his grenades. But looks like Exarsist wants to engage here, uses the most annoying ability that allows you to deal with extra unnecessary damage, and you can see why it is so scary to engage Tau early. You kill the drone and now you are losing. Well, it is tempting to say one boys squad, but you will most definitely lose a second boys squad if you continue fighting, and he could have actually pinned even more boys if he played more aggressively, basically locking you down in the unfavorable fight. It looks like, alright, we can reach at least a single piranha with this war buggy. Though the positioning might not be the best. But yeah, you kinda want to kill the piranha here. That counts as a long-term investment, because they generate value by spawning drones and later using seeker missiles. Killing a piranha early, you basically deny a lot of possible value it could have produced, but that does require you to engage in a fight. And we can see that Exarsist has 3 more gun drones available. With a couple of boy squads out of cover, this is going to be a devastating fight. Which again just emphasizes how hard it is to fight Tau early. That is a lot of units again. Very hard to deal with them. Gets a drone for free. And you can see like 6 movement dogs is absolutely busted as well in this early scenario, when you can push your advantage this hard. And that is why you can't really rely on boys in this matchup. Nice, he's gonna use that annoying ability. And Kolobok taps out, sadly. Very quick game, but that's what you get against Tau. Engaging early. Even as an orc, if you want to expand, you have to respect this. You can see the military graph grows much more rapidly for Tau. And again, personally, I don't think that those extra units Tau can buy are even that fair. Like 6 movement crude hounds. It's not something you can realistically deal with when they are in the hands of a player. And Vespids are quite annoying as well. By the way, Vespids used to be at least 30 cost, so it took extra influence to buy them, and they hit your moral extra when you lost them. Now, I know their cost was reduced to make it more usable for Tau, but in the PvP setting might be a bit too much. And again, like, crude hounds should just have less movement and maybe extra cost. The reason why they are so cheap is, again, purely for single player purposes, or Razor playing against neutral purposes, because they are easy to kill, so some factions can easily farm them. And but yeah, well, very short game today. Congratulations to Exarsist for winning in the semi-final and for such a strong show of Tau power in the early game. Once again proving that you have to respect this. Extra units, like extra barrack in the form of buying units, and extra bodies on the floor in the form of gun drones. A lot of damage. The units itself are pretty flimsy, but having numerical advantage surely matters a lot. So yeah, once again, congratulations to Exarsist, and thank you Kolobok for participating, and for everyone watching. Have a good evening.